Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to take a look at a transcript from a super popular Hindi nursery rhyme video that's all over YouTube. Now, at first glance, it looks like complete and utter nonsense. But today, we're going to pull it apart, piece by piece, and see if we can find the method to all this madness. I mean, just listen to this. You've got an ant chasing an elephant, a chair that talks, and a mouse that's running a fever. It really sounds like someone just threw, I don't know, a dozen different stories into a blender and hit puree. It's this fantastic little puzzle that immediately makes you go, so yeah, what is happening here? Let's get into it. We're going to deconstruct this digital age nursery rhyme and try to find the hidden logic behind all the chaos. And to do that, we first have to find some kind of pattern. Right, so our first step is to find the main beat, the one narrative thread that's holding this whole thing together, even if it's just barely. And believe it or not, in this whirlwind of characters, we actually find a protagonist, a very, very unlucky mouse. The story of this sick little mouse is, well, it's surprisingly simple, and it's repetitive. It just keeps popping up again and again throughout the whole video. So, in this sea of absolute randomness, this little story becomes our anchor. So, here's the key thing to get. This mouse's little drama, it's basically the chorus of the song. But just when we start to get into the rhythm of it, the story gets crashed by this whole parade of unexpected characters. And we should probably meet them. Yep, the mouse's trip to the doctor is constantly being interrupted by this bizarre, kind of random cast. And each one of these guests brings a tiny piece of their own nursery rhyme into the mix, which, as you can imagine, makes things pretty wild. First up, the cat, of course. A natural enemy for our little mouse, right? The cat brings in that classic meow meow rhyme, and it adds this familiar layer of conflict. That is, until the next interruption comes along. And then, things get really absurd. An elephant king just shows up, apparently for snacks, and immediately breaks the furniture. The chatter-patter sound of the chair breaking even becomes its own little repetitive sound, pushing the rhyme even further into chaos. Okay, and if you thought an elephant king was strange, hold on, because now we get a magical tomato that grants superpowers. All of a sudden, the mouse can chase the cat, and an ant can chase that giant elephant. The whole natural order of things gets completely flipped on its head. And the final interruption? A juggler named Kalu and his dancing bear. A whole crowd of kids just appears out of thin air to watch, creating a total scene change. It's literally a show within the show. So we've met our main character, and we've met all the characters who crash the story. Now we get to the big question, why? Why would you structure a kid's rhyme like this? Well, the answer isn't in traditional storytelling. It's all about the logic of the digital world. So why go to all the trouble of weaving these different threads together? I mean, it seems like it would just confuse a kid, right? But it turns out there are some really powerful platform-driven reasons for this whole remix strategy. Let's break this down. First, you've got maximum engagement. A new character, a new scene every 30 seconds or so. That keeps a toddler from getting bored and swiping away. Second, it's basically search engine gold. The title of the video gets packed with all these keywords. Mouse, cat, elephant, bear. It is literally designed to be found. Third, there's the surprise factor. You have no idea what's coming next, which makes it incredibly sticky. It all comes together to create this kind of digital fever dream, perfectly engineered for its audience, and more importantly, its platform. So what does this one chaotic video tell us about storytelling here in the 21st century? Well, it shows us this really fascinating place where these age-old characters are meeting the brand new rules of the algorithm. I mean, think about the difference. Traditional nursery rhymes, they're simple. They're linear stories passed down over generations. But digital rhymes like this one, they are non-linear mashups, and they're built to perform well on a platform. They aren't just telling a story. They're designed from the ground up to capture and hold our attention in a really crowded digital space. And that fundamentally changes how these first stories are introduced to a whole new generation. And that leaves us with this final, pretty fascinating question. When content is built this way, when it's optimized for keywords and engagement and watch time, are algorithms basically becoming the new authors of children's culture? Is this the new Brothers Grimm, an invisible hand that's guiding how our oldest stories evolve for a digital age? Definitely something to think about.